Trying to get it up here near the vent where you can hear it. And hadn't gone off for 2 or 3 days there. It's lasting a good long time. While I'm in the guest bathroom, that's where I'm at right now. Is I'll show you here. Pry marks on the top door jamb. I found them when I returned from the hospital after I was ambushed and shot in my home, and I painted the whole house when I first moved here, so I knew, you know, this was new, you know. So what that told me is somebody had been trapped in this room, and this door right here was one of the doors that I had tie-wired shut earlier in that day. I noticed somebody was in my home once again. I've been calling the police, you know, for over a year about the burglaries at this house, and so I got this idea to tie-wire these doors shut, and what I did was I shut. Here's a bedroom door, another bedroom door, closet door there with the attic entrance there. I tie-wired all these doors shut right here, so all them rooms, and that way I'd already been told by the ex-wife that there was a trap door in this house, you know, and here they've been breaking in, and so what, I was compartmentalizing my home, you know, and so they never expected that I would tie-wire it, that the door would be locked, you know. And so what happened was there was somebody in my house just like I thought, and they got trapped in this bathroom. Well, I'm on the other side with a gun, okay, because I got a shotgun, right, and I got a handgun too, and I'm a homeowner, and you know, and they're a criminal, and they're breaking in my home, they're threatening my life. We already know they're killers now, that's proven, and so here's this criminal in this room here. I didn't know it though, and trapped, and I'm up there with a gun. Well, so they got a choice. So they can use their phone and get a hold of, you know, call 911 and say, hey, you know, I'm a burglar, I'm a criminal, I'm committing a felony, I'm locked inside this man's house at a private residence, and he's on the other side of the door with a gun. Please come arrest me and send me to prison for 10 years for the crime that I'm committing, right? Or they get with their friends and they kill me. And that's what they chose to do. They chose to murder me in my home. And so anyway, let me get the timestamp. So we know when this latest felony was. You know, the one thing I always get asked is, oh, how come you haven't catch nobody on camera? And it took a long time to prove they were hacking cameras. And you got to remember, it's proven that there's corrupt police involved. I told the police about evidence of a capital murder attempt being at my house, and they come to my house and they stole the evidence. And they're caught. They're busted. You can't get any more busted than they are. And so somehow they stopped Free Press America, and they just, sidetrack justice. And I guess that's how they kill people and make money on the side. They're murdering homeowners is all I can tell, you know, because here I'm just home minding my own business. I got people, you know, breaking in my home trying to kill me. So anyway, here we are, April 1st. This isn't an April Fool's joke. This is a felony burglary. The night I was shot, them burglar alarms were going off over and over and over and over. And then, you know, I think what they were doing, and I wrote this on my Facebook today, they were herding me, is what they were doing. They were trying to get me to go, to walk where they could get a kill shot, okay? Because remember, you have a burglar trapped in that guest bathroom, okay? And so, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you here. One thing that's kind of interesting, new name for everybody, Kevin Turner. If you know Kevin Turner, you're in Midland, was in Midland in 2012, have him get a hold of me. He's the guy that called the 911 on the night I shot. That's one of my Facebook posts, okay? And so here this morning, there's a Facebook post or a comment on YouTube, and this guy says, where can I see the footage of where you were shot from? And I said, well, I've got these 3 videos. And it's called The Day of the Shooting, Back to the Crime Scene, and How to Get Away with Murder. And so they're on my YouTube and my Facebook, and so I posted that. But then I went on and here I started telling this story here. Okay, ER nurse Cresswell documents that I said alarms kept going off, but MPD Detective Rodriguez didn't know the nurse was doing this, so she made up lies and said that I told her I was locking up for the night, knocked my gun over, and shot myself. If it wasn't for this nurse, then it would be my word against her word, about what I said was happening. I was shot during a home invasion and burglar alarms were going off over and over. And the reason I come to show you this because I just mentioned that when I shot, the same type of burglar alarms were going off over and over and over again. This is the nurse's note, 11:27. I called that at 10:42, and she says, patient stated. There's sirens going off. The alarms kept going off. I was talking on a white voice recorder in case something happens to me and saying what they were doing in my house. Have proof, just go look, their proof. Well, they did, you know, and at the same minute, Detective Rodriguez has patient's necklace. And so Rodriguez was in the room when she found out that proof, that white voice recorder. And what the voice recorder did was record the burglar alarms going off, proved I was shot during a home invasion. Okay, well, Rosa Rodriguez, she didn't know what Nurse Cresswell had documented me saying. So she made up just bold-faced lies, okay? And here's what she says. Buddy said he was going to lock the door leading from the kitchen to the garage when his gun fell and it went off. A shotgun accidentally fired and shot his right ankle. Buddy said his phone was not charging. He went outside and screamed for help. That's a lie. She made all that up right there, okay? And I wasn't locking up for the night. I had burglar alarms going off. I was under home invasion. That's what I said, okay? And so then the other thing I want to show here is the entrance and exit wounds are 2 inches above ground level, and the evidence shows without a doubt I wasn't shot with my gun. This happens 2 weeks after I called the El Paso and Midland DEA and reported a suspected tunnel from phone number, and that's not the right number. The right number is 432-209-6494. And now multiple people are documented as saying that tunnels and/or underground facility is here. Nobody would have suspected that somebody under my home shot me if I had died as planned. Okay, so here's the lab report right here. This is the lab report showing the size of pellets. Here's the shotgun shell showing the size of pellets of my gun. Here's the chart showing it's 2.5 sizes different. And then what you do see is the size of the pellets in the Glazier safety slug. That's the plastic tip full of bullets. And we also know that there's an entrance room and the exit wound. So, you know, without having pictures of a tunnel, you can be absolutely 100% positive that I was shot by somebody under this home, okay? And because the evidence shows that. Okay, the picture seems to show Rodriguez and Chandler planting my stolen cell phone behind my nightstand after the officers left the room. I found it behind this nightstand when I returned from the hospital, but it wasn't there when I shot. They had stolen my cell phone before shooting me. Okay, so what it is, I didn't read that earlier, but basically what happened was after I fell to the ground, I didn't see it. I was ambushed, and so I screamed for help, and it was silent. So they were listening to me scream, waiting for me to die, literally, okay? And earlier that day, my cell phone had been mysteriously disappeared. It was stolen. Now I know it's stolen. And then, so I had the cordless phone in my pocket. Remember, I knew I had a home invasion going on that day. And so I fall to the ground, and the home phone line is dead. They cut my phone lines before shooting me. When I get out of the hospital, I find these pictures on this camera, which they tried to disable this camera. And what it looks like is all the other police had left the room except for Chandler and Rodriguez. Okay, so I think they waited till all the other ones. These were the last of the secret police pictures. And then you see her leaned over the nightstand. It looks like she's planting my stolen cell phone because that's where I found my cell phone. It wasn't there when I shot. It was stolen earlier that day. Okay, and this is just a police report showing that this police report for this day says it wasn't there. Okay, But so Rodriguez, as far as I'm concerned, is planting my stolen cell phone that was stolen before I shot. And now my home phone line was cut, okay? And when I get back home, it was working, okay? Now, and I found on the police reports right here, Detective Rodriguez states that I told her my battery on my phone was dead, which is a lie, and it wasn't dead, and I didn't tell her that. That's more lies. And I just don't have the nurse backing me up this time. My cell phone had been stolen and my home phone had been cut before they shot me from point-blank range directly in an artery. If I died, this was cold-blooded, premeditated murder. Now, I want to show you what she wrote. She said, Buddy said his phone was not charged. Buddy did not say his phone was not charged. I didn't say it was dead. Period. I didn't have no phone lines when I fell to the ground. It was a working phone, and they cut my phone lines before they shot me. At the same time, this same camera, the one that I got the pictures from, I had the software called YawCam running on my computer that turned my webcam into a security camera. And at 8:08, I'm shot at 10:42, that camera was terminated. I didn't do that. So I believe at the same time, at 8:08, they were preparing to murder me. They terminated my camera, they cut my home phone lines, and they stole my cell phone. And then, you know, if I died, nobody would have been the wiser. And what happened was at 3:15 in the morning, they rebooted my computer, and that's what restarted the camera, and that's why I had pictures of them in my home, okay? And so... And then I showed this in a recent video about being called crazy, because not only did Chandler, and they're the two main ones, Rodriguez, do this, a day and a half later, Chandler, after comes in and stealing evidence from my house, calls me a paranoid schizophrenic. Well, I wasn't diagnosed with this disease. I don't have this disease. I was hunted and shot and left for dead in my own home. I had been calling and reporting burglaries, okay? And Chandler made that lie up and made a permanent record that repeats that attached to my name permanently. I saw it on over 10 police reports, and it's a lie. And then here Rodriguez personally calls the hospital and tries to have me committed. Now, you know, here's there over there in my home planting the evidence, right? Evidence that I told the police about. Well, I take that back. Which was the voice recorder. The voice recorder was stolen, and that's what I told him about. And what's really important is the medical record shows that I was cleared by mental health services. So, as I said, you know, I'm the victim of a capital crime you know, and I should be dead. And they made up them lies, life-destroying lies, and to cover up this attempted murder. Okay, so here we go. I showed this in a recent video too. The former boyfriend of the ex-wife contacts me and says, "You think she has anything to do with the, you know, with the murder attempt or the shooting?" And I said, "Well, I don't think she's here." He says, "I think she had a lot to do with it from the things she said, and she threatened to kill me too." Okay. Well, 4 months before the murder attempt, we recorded a conversation, me and her, and she did it free will. She knew that. And I'm talking here where I said, you know, and I'm the one talking. You're going to pay me $1,000 or $1,200 a month. I'm going to lie about everything I seen and tell everybody you're crazy. And I was quoting her. You know, I was talking about her. That's what she did. She stuck her finger in my chest and says, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to pay me $1,800 a month, or I'm going to tell everybody you're crazy." And then 2 years after the murder attempt, she goes into court. I didn't pay the money, and she calls me delusional. Her and her childhood friend, Detective Rosa Rodriguez. I didn't find out till 2 years later that this detective that was in my house leaned over my nightstand where my stolen cell phone was her childhood friend she went to grade school with. Okay, so this is Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.